This might just be the most underrated character in Forsaken. This character is actually so good in the right hands that he can shift entire rounds with correctly utilized abilities and smart positioning. Yet barely anybody plays him. I'm talking about none other than Dusukar. My boy Dusukar. Wait, what? Dusukar? Are you serious? Dude, I get targeted by the killer so much as Dusukar and I barely have any time to breathe. Well, yes, you do get targeted a lot, but that's not an excuse. Plus, it's not like you'll get targeted less if you use a different character. Once the killer sees you, he immediately locks your eyes with you and won't let go, but back to my point. Why does nobody play Dusukar? I mean, have you ever played him? He sucks. He only has his beam thingy and a small hitbox and shield thingy. Cool, I mean, where do I even start? I can't even use those useless abilities in a chase because of the charge up. So what's the point? Well, Dusukar is actually good if you take a deeper look, but why does barely anybody play him? I mean, if you take a look at how much people actually play him, there's no official public statistics, but I'd assume it's somewhere between 3% to 2%, which is ridiculously low. So why is that? I mean, his stats are pretty average, 90 HP and 100 stamina, and a levitation passive which is pretty damn useless, to be honest. From the bottom of my heart, I've never seen actual use of this passive. Back to my point. He's not beginner friendly. You see, Dusukar abilities are not beneficial to you at all. They can only help other teammates. The shield reduces the damage the other survivors take, and the plasma beam, I guess that can help you too as well. But your main job is to carry the team and make sure nobody dies by giving shield and slowing down the killer, which is already not an easy task to do. You can use a plasma beam to loop the killer, which works I guess, but most of the time that won't really help you in chase, which makes Dusukar more or less juke dependent, a lot more than other supports. And juke is not something somebody immediately learns after dreaming of it at night, but rather a long process of learning through mistakes. Some people are simply better than others because they have more experience and knowledge. Now, okay, so now we know he's not beginner friendly, and in the game is probably by far the most skill dependent character, but even if you have high skill, there's nothing you can do in a chase other than to depend on your teammates. So what's next? Well, there's another huge problem, you see. He is absolutely impossible to play on mobile. Now, I myself have never played Roblox Forsaken on mobile, and I never really play Roblox on mobile, but from what I've heard from you guys is that playing him is horrible. And yeah, sure, I can imagine that, since you somehow need a cursor to aim your plasma beam with, since it can go in every possible direction. It's way harder to aim your abilities with on mobile as Dusukar. I mean, I can even say borderline impossible. So we can conclude that for mobile players, he is horrible. I don't know how the Forsaken developers are going to fix that, but surely they can come up with something. Another huge problem, he requires thinking. Most Dusukar players barely know anything about positioning or clever playing. If you're on a huge map, barely anybody exploits the fact that you can just go on high ground or far away and just spam your abilities. That way you're a real pain in the ass. But sure, I can understand some maps like Horror Hotel absolutely suck for Dusukar, since there's a lot of walls and barriers blocking your abilities, and it's mostly cramped small areas where you can't snipe or help from a distance. But what I also feel like is that Dusukar players don't get appreciated enough. Whenever you give someone shield as Dusukar, the teammates either go running behind a wall, or they come running at you like they're about to sacrifice you to the ancients from Blocktails. Like, holy crap, chill out! Playing with bad teammates can make it feel more unrewarding and not fun as Dusukar. And you know, most Forsaken players are below the average, I'm gonna put it that way. And without teammates, you're alone, and no matter how good you are at juking, you're going to survive for a maximum of a minute, maybe, or a bit more. Depends on how good you are at the game, but no matter how good you are, those small mistakes are gonna cost you a lot of HP, and bit by bit you're gonna degrade, eventually dying. But hey, if you subscribe to my channel, I'll make you a better Forsaken player. Plus you won't miss out on more cool videos like this. Okay, so now, is Dusukar really that bad after everything I said? Look, if you go on the Forsaken wiki, Dusukar is a support, you know? He's not supposed to be engaging in close combat or get near the killer at all. Look, here's the thing, I get your point. Dusukar is not easy to play and you can get punished very easily. But that's still does not mean he's bad. He's actually pretty dang good if played correctly. The reason why barely anybody plays him is because he has a high skill ceiling, and he's not beginner friendly. That's why everybody sleeps on him. Plus, for some beginners he might be too expensive because he costs 600 player points, which, you know, is the farthest thing from cheap. There's better things to invest your player points in. And buying him as a beginner is more useless than buying weirdly straight cool kid skin. I legit never saw one single play this skin in my 6 months of playing Forsaken. Anyways, So why does he require skill? Because he's actually a character where you need to think before you act, unlike other button mash characters like Shiletsky. His hitbox from the plasma beam is arguably quite small and hard to aim with. Plus the punishing consequences of utilizing your abilities wrong, like the shield for too short amount of time, will also punish you. Now that all sounds bad, but most people don't know how to actually play Dusukar. That's the only real problem. You're supposed to exploit high grounds and far distances to the maximum so you have looping potential. You're supposed to be sneaky and hide around corners just like 2-time. Of course, if you use shield in the open, you'll be seen by the killer and then targeted. They're like wow. But if you use it from a distance, you can easily get away with it, to be honest. Now Dusukar doesn't really have any abilities that aid him in a chase like Iliad, who has Rush Hour, but he is one of those characters that if you know how to play him, you'll be a real pain in the ass for the killer. Unlike every single other character that has abilities to help you in a chase, Dusukar has abilities that help you to prevent getting chased in the first place or getting too close to the killer. But once you mess up and the killer gets close enough, that's the real problem, and you always want to avoid that. I mean, what other character can slow down the killer and make survivors faster at the same time and give resistance for shield to survivors that makes them impossible to catch because of the speed boost they get from getting damaged, and they only take like 4 damage. Look, Dusukar is OP, it's just most people don't see the potential in him because, well, he requires above average experience and skill along with some good teammates, which to be honest most people lack a lot of the time. There's a good reason why he got nerfed shortly after release. It's because he was just too good and could shift around super easily. All you need is just one guest protecting you if you play Dusukar or other teammates that help you, and that's all you need to utilize the maximum potential of Dusukar. But I mean, no matter how good the shield is, the damage done is irreversible, so you might want an Iliad player on the team. By the way, I already mentioned in one of my other videos that Dusukar is also the best character for earning money, so not only is he a very good support, but also by far the best for money gain. What I suggest you is learn the basics by playing more beginner friendly characters like Shiletsky or Iliad maybe, but you'll get targeted a lot, but then advance to more skill dependent characters like Guest, Chance or 2-time, and then maybe give a try to Dusukar. Of course, you can start with Dusukar first, but I don't think it would be that fun of an experience, especially if you don't have the basic knowledge of the game and the fact that you're gonna get targeted a lot. And you know, for me at least, getting targeted isn't that bad at all. Quite the opposite actually. I can waste so much time by juking the killer, which is super useful, and sometimes they just give up and chase somebody else after a short amount of time. But for that you need to master juking, which takes quite a while. Dusukar is not bad in conclusion, he really never was. He's just a very complicated survivor with unique abilities. That's all I had to share with you today on the topic of Dusukar and why he's so underrated. By the way, join the Discord server and tell me what video I should do next. I'm running out of video ideas, I'm in need of desperate help. Anyways, like and subscribe, and yeah, have a great day.